Here we go again. We've never seen a team do this to PSG, how Chelsea won Club World Cup. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Few could. Paris Saint-Germain have been swatting aside all comers all season, from wrapping up the League One title in early April to demolishing Inter Milan in a Champions League final, so one-sided it was scarcely believable. They seem to be breezing through the Club World Cup in similar fashion too, beating Bayern Munich with 9 men and then thrashing Real Madrid 4-0 on their way to Sunday's final. But heavily tipped to cruise past Chelsea and New Jersey, this time it was the Parisians who were left stunned. Even before Coldplay's colorful halftime show arrived, Cole Palmer had scored 2 superb goals and created another for João Pedro to put the Blues 3-0 up. That is how it ended. I've never seen PSG turn the ball over as much as they have in this first half, said former England midfielder Andros Townsend. Chelsea now. Full credit to Chelsea for their willingness to track the ball in this New York heat. It was Townsend who said he could not believe the scenes playing out on the MetLife Stadium pitch. There was widespread astonishment. As fellow pundit Gareth Bale put it, PSG have been PSG'd. So how did Enzo Maresca's side manage it? And just how good are Chelsea? Palmer thrives as Blues produce tactical masterclass, as has often been the case over the past 2 years. Palmer playing well meant Chelsea played well. The 23-year-old has operated predominantly down the middle as a conventional number 10 for much of this season, but at times he struggled in that position. At one point, he went 18 games without scoring and recently admitted he had endured a difficult time these past whatever months on and off the pitch. However, having been moved back out to the right during this tournament, a position he made his own under previous boss Mauricio Pochettino, he has looked somewhere near his best again. Chelsea had clearly prioritized a fast start in the final, with Maresca saying he thought they won the game in the first 10 minutes, with their aggressive approach and high press putting their opponents under unfamiliar stress. The idea was, go man-to-man, because if you leave spaces to PSG, they will kill you. So we tried to be very aggressive and suffocate them early on, and that intensity was crucial in the first 10 minutes, Maresca said. Once Chelsea had asserted their authority, it was then obvious they were keen to target PSG's left-hand side, as João Pedro frequently drifted out wide to pair up with Palmer. Their method was often direct, with passes dropped in behind the PSG defense, but it meant left-back Nuno Mendes was given a torrid time. We had a lot of success exploring the left side of their defense, said Maresca. Things worked perfectly for us due to the effort the players put. Townsend described it as a tactical masterclass. That's what they've done. They've stretched this PSG defense. We've never seen a team do this to them, added ex-Chelsea midfielder John Mikel Obi. We value it as much as the Champions League, perhaps even more. There has been much debate about how much this newly expanded competition means. But the trophy does mean you can call yourself world champions until the next competition is played, scheduled for 2029. And Chelsea will be able to wear a badge on their kit to reiterate it. It's also been worth between 80 million and 90 million pounds in prize money. The fans will have bragging rights for the next 4 years, said Townsend. Nobody will be able to say anything to Chelsea fans because they are world champions, not for 1 year but for 4 years until 2029. Wow. What an achievement. With a fine turn and finish, there was no after being put through by Nicholas Jackson. Before summer signing, Liam Delap was introduced in the second period and delivered an excellent cross for Enzo Fernandez to fire home. Another debut was awarded in the final minutes as Dario Asugo replaced Moises Caicedo to ensure the Blues made a winning start to the tournament. It was then back to Philadelphia, where our remaining 2 Group D matches would take place. Flamengo 3-1, Chelsea Group D, Lincoln Financial Field. Shortly after the Blues returned to the city of brotherly love, A heat wave ensnared the East Coast. Temperatures reached 39 degrees Celsius, which forced Maresca to shorten his training sessions and arguably favored sides more acclimatized to the sweltering temperatures. One of those, Flamengo, were next up at Lincoln Financial Field. The Blues made a strong start as Pedro Neto took advantage of a defensive mistake to put us ahead inside 13 minutes, but the Brazilian side responded after the interval. Bruno Henrique leveled the game just after the hour mark, and Danilo added a second 3 minutes later. Nicholas Jackson was then dismissed, and Flamengo added a third goal late on to secure their victory. With group positions decided on a head-to-head. Here we go again. Chelsea claimed Club World Cup glory as Cole Palmer inspired a stunning 3-0 victory over Paris Saint-Germain in New Jersey, Champions League winners. Paris Saint-Germain were strong favorites, having thrashed Real Madrid in the semi-finals, but Chelsea scored 3 times in a clinical first-half display to earn the title of world champions to follow their Conference League win. Palmer had a hand in all 3 goals, scoring the first from Malo Gusto's cutback with a superb low finish and adding the second with a near-identical strike only 8 minutes later. He then played in new signing João Pedro, who followed up his 2-goal performance against Fluminense with a cool finish over Gianluigi Donnarumma as Paris Saint-Germain, who had João Neves sent off for pulling Marc Cucurella's hair late on, were left stunned. The victory, in front of watching U.S. President Donald Trump, sees Chelsea bank around £100 million in prize money from what was the first edition of the competition in its expanded 32-team format. Paris Saint-Germain came into the game hoping to complete a quadruple 6 weeks after thrashing Inter 5-0 in the Champions League final, but could not handle Chelsea's intensity as Enzo Maresca's side ruthlessly targeted their left flank. In a showpiece fixture which featured glitzy pre-match build-up, a fighter jet fly past, and a lengthy halftime show which extended the interval to 24 minutes, breaching IFAB regulations, Chelsea looked sharper and more dangerous from the start. After their first-half flurry of goals, they could have extended their lead late in the second when substitute Liam Delap forced 2 saves from Donnarumma. At the other end, Robert Sanchez also produced some fine stops, but the result never looked in doubt, despite the pre-match odds heavily favoring Chelsea's opponents. Paris Saint-Germain's frustration boiled over, first with the Nieve red card, awarded after the referee was sent to the monitor, and then when a brawl broke out between the players after the final whistle. Once the commotion died down, though, it was time for Chelsea's fans and players to celebrate a triumphant end to an epic season. Palmer, we proved our doubters wrong. Chelsea's Cole. Palmer said the victory was made all the sweeter by people writing off their chances in the build-up. But to go out there and put a fight on like we did against a great team, it's good. I like finals. And it happened again, he said of his goal, a year, almost to the day, after scoring in the Euro 2024 final. The gaffer put a great game plan out. He knew where the space was going to be. I just had to repay him and score some goals. He's building something special, something important. I feel like we are going in the right direction, Maresca. We won the game in the first 10 minutes, head coach Enzo. Maresca said Chelsea had the game won inside the first 10 minutes, despite their opener not arriving until the 22nd minute, and saluted the efforts of his players as he looked forward to a holiday. For me, we won the game in the first 10 minutes. In the first 10 minutes, we set the tempo for the way we want to play. We were very good. Unfortunately, with the weather conditions, it is not easy to do for 90 minutes, but I think we won the game in the first 10 minutes. On Palmer's player of the match performance, he said, "Today we found a position for him where there was space to attack. I'm happy for Cole, but the effort from all the players has been fantastic. Our future is very exciting, but I'm more excited for 3 weeks off. What now for Chelsea? Chelsea will return to London to begin their pre-season preparations ahead of the 2025/26 Premier League campaign, with a fine turn and finish after being put through by Nicholas Jackson. Before summer signing, Liam Delap was introduced in the second period and delivered an excellent cross for Enzo Fernandez to fire home. Another debut was awarded in the final minutes as Dario Asugo replaced Moises Caicedo to ensure the Blues made a winning start to the tournament. It was then back to Philadelphia, where our remaining two Group D matches would take place. Flamengo 3-1, Chelsea Group D, Lincoln Financial Field. Shortly after the Blues returned to the city of brotherly love, a heat wave ensnared the East Coast. Temperatures reached 39 degrees Celsius, which forced Maresca to shorten his training sessions and, arguably, favored sides more acclimatized to the sweltering temperatures. One of those, Flamengo, were next up at Lincoln Financial Field. The Blues made a strong start as Pedro Neto took advantage of a defensive mistake to put us ahead inside 13 minutes, but the Brazilian side responded after the interval. Bruno Henrique leveled the game just after the hour mark, and Danilo added a second 3 minutes later. Nicholas Jackson was then dismissed, and Flamengo added a third goal late on to secure their victory. With group positions decided on a head-to-head basis, it meant we could no longer finish top. ES Tunis, 0-2, Chelsea Group D, Lincoln Financial Field. If the Blues could avoid defeat against the Tunisian champions, a place in the knockout stage was assured. Maresca opted to make several changes to his side, with Philip Jorgensen, Josh Akayampong, Benoit Badiashile, and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, featuring for the first time at the tournament. Tunis didn't make it easy, but Tosin broke the deadlock in first-half stoppage time with a header from an Enzo Fernandez free kick. Delap added an instant second, a stunning pirouette, touch and finish, to open his Blues account. Maresca's side controlled the second period and, in the final moments, added gloss to the scoreline as Tariq George came off the bench to net his first of the tournament. Our place in the round of 16 was secure. Benfica 1-4, Chelsea round of 16. Bank of America Stadium, Miami, was our base for the following 9 days. The Blues trained in the Magic City and then traveled to Charlotte, North Carolina for our first game against European opposition. It proved a game that, for several reasons, will live long in the memories of supporters. Having controlled the opening half, the deadlock was broken in the 64th minute when skipper Reece James whipped home a free kick. We looked all set for victory until a thunderstorm in the area forced the game to be suspended. Almost 2 hours passed before play resumed, and there was a late twist as Benfica were awarded a controversial 95th penalty following a VAR review, which Angel Di Maria converted. Extra time was needed. Early into the additional 30 minutes, Benfica forward Gianluca Prestiani was dismissed. We then took full control, and goals from Christopher Nkunku, Pedro Neto, and Dewsbury Hall ensured our victory, and a game that kicked off at 4 p.m. local time was finally brought to a close just before 9 p.m. Palmeiras 1-2, Chelsea quarter-final, Lincoln Financial Field. It was back to Philadelphia for our last 8 encounter, and for the second time in the tournament, we faced Brazilian opposition. Reaching the semi-finals was the target, but there was also intrigue as to how future Blue Estival would perform. We made a strong start as an excellent pass from Trevo Chalobah enabled Cole Palmer to spin away, avoid 2 defenders, and pass the ball home with 16 minutes on the clock. Further chances came and went for the Blues, yet they weren't taken. And after half-time, Estevao showcased his quality by drilling a shot beyond Robert Sanchez via the crossbar. It was a wonderful strike from the 18-year-old. Possible for any manager in the world to make a session with 45 players. It's impossible. You cannot do that. Chelsea successfully managed players' minutes as they juggled their top 4 Premier League finish with their Europa Conference League triumph last season. However, one area the Blues were deemed to be lacking was competition for Nicholas Jackson up front, which the club have addressed through the signings of Delap and Pedro. Pedro was quickly introduced to first-team action against Palmeiras, even though the forward had been enjoying time off before completing his transfer. Explaining his decision post-match, Maresca said, "Yes, since he arrived, the reason why we decided for him is because since he arrived, even if he was on holiday, he looks sharp, he looks good." Chelsea's qualification for the Champions League and desire to compete in the Premier League and domestic cups should offer plenty of opportunities for Delap, Jackson, and Pedro to stake their respective claims. Former Watford and Brighton star Pedro has his sights set on bringing more success to Stamford Bridge. I was one of the ones to watch Chelsea. They had brilliant players in the past, have brilliant players now. It's a big club. I think that's why I chose to join Chelsea, Pedro said after signing for the club. I grew up watching the Premier League, and Chelsea were a club that won trophies. So, when you join Chelsea, you can only think one thing: to win trophies. Every competition, you have to think, I play for Chelsea, and that is my ambition. Chelsea have made a fifth signing of the summer in bringing the Borussia Dortmund star to the club. Jamie Gittins has become Chelsea's fifth signing of the summer, penning a 7-year deal with the Blues after completing a £52 million move from Borussia Dortmund. Gittins joins Dario Isugo, Mamadou Sarr, Liam Delap, and João Pedro as new additions to Enzo Maresca's squad for the 2025-26 campaign. The 20-year-old was one of the Blues' top targets to fill the wide position this summer, and they have got their man. Gittins has joined up with his new teammates in the United States of America and was even spotted on the pitch with the Blues at the end of their Club World Cup quarter-final win over Palmeiras on Friday, Saturday morning UK time. The winger was already out in the States, having been part of the Dortmund squad for the tournament. And unlike João Pedro, Chelsea are not able to call on Gittins during what is left of their Club World Cup campaign. He was named in Dortmund's squad for the tournament, which ruled him out of playing for the Blues despite the second registration window. Gittins scored 12 goals and laid on 5 assists in 49 appearances for the Black and Yellow last season, and will now battle for a spot in Maresca's front line alongside Pedro Neto, Noni Madueke, who has been linked with an exit from Stamford Bridge, fellow new boy João Pedro, and Christopher Nkunku, who has also been linked with an exit from the club. Chelsea announced the deal from their base in America, with Gittins delivering a short message upon signing with the Blues. He said, "It feels great. It's a great feeling to join such a big club as Chelsea. I can't wait to learn from everyone in the team and to push myself to the max here. It's an amazing feeling.